Welcome to the Group Dentistry Now Show, the voice of the DSO industry. Kim Larson and Bill Newman talk to industry leaders about their challenges, successes, and the future of group dentistry. Visit groupdentistrynow.com for more DSO analysis, news, and events. Looking for a job or have a job to fill? Visit joindso.com. We hope you enjoy today's show.
Half of your patients are looking to straighten their teeth.
Being successful in Invisalign is not an easy process. And if you don't know what you're doing, patients, their case goes much longer than it needs to. An Invisalign case used to take me at least 6 hours, if not many more. It's not profitable for me at all. And so it really did detract from our ability to produce and have a efficient, productive office. Two-Front has taken the hassle and the frustration out of offering Invisalign to my patients.
Two-Front has simplified offering Invisalign for dentists. We are now giving you the ability to turn your Invisalign patients into passive income.
With the digital platform that Two-Front provides, we've approximately tripled our screenings for patients interested in Invisalign, and that helps us to retain those patients in the practice. I can now offer Invisalign treatment and services to all of my patients and rest assured that they are getting taken care of at the highest level, and I get to grow my bottom line.
They're able to have an orthodontist come into the practice, and their staff that takes care of all of the registration and all the appointment making and the financial part, all that stuff is taken care of by Two-Front as well.
Two-Front gives you a private practice experience through a platform and for free.
The future of dentistry is dentists partnering with Two-Front to offer patients the highest quality of care. Our partnership with Two-Front has absolutely added to the success of our practice.
We partner with top dental practices, like you, to help you generate 6 figures of passive income. Schedule a call with us to see if you qualify to become a Two-Front partner.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Group Dentistry Now Show. I'm your host, Bill Newman. Thanks again for listening in or watching us on YouTube. We always appreciate it, and always excited to have innovative companies on the show. And we actually have 2 individuals from a really cool orthodontic platform here, and it's called Two-Front. So I love the name, and really interested in diving into this because I don't think anybody else right now is doing anything like this. So let's talk to the founder and also the chief of staff here. So we have Dr. Ingrid Murra. She is a Harvard-trained orthodontist and, of course, the founder and CEO of Two-Front. So Ingrid, welcome to the Group Dentistry Now Show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be on your show.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I love technology. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff. So we have Mike Margolis, who is the chief of staff at Two-Front, and he has some experience with operations and finance, and he's been in some really cool tech companies. Bebot that was acquired recently by DoorDash and a couple of others. So Mike, welcome.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Ingrid, if you don't mind, give us some of your background. I talked a little bit about you're a Harvard trained orthodontist, but just paint a little bit of a picture here. And then Mike, I'd love you to do the same on your bios, and then we can talk about the company.
Yeah. So I'm an orthodontist, like you said. I spent 20 years of my life becoming an orthodontist. Decided I was going to become one when I was 8. I had my own totally life transforming experience after 4 years of braces, and just became obsessed with orthodontics as an industry. I then started a residency in 2015 when the first mail order aligner company launched. And I learned very, very quickly that the market was just going up and to the right for the demand, people who want to straighten their teeth. Now that you can straighten your teeth easily with plastic instead of metal, less embarrassing. But I realized in residency that it takes a lot to get high quality care. It's very much not the Industrial Revolution, what people were thinking of just like straightening your teeth in the mail. Hence all the latest, lawsuits And so I realized there had to be a new way to connect dental offices to orthodontists, to basically match the supply and the demands, because at the same time, orthodontists have quickly become the #1 most in-depth specialty in the country. Of the top 50 professionals in the country, they have between $500,000 to $1 million in the student debt. And so they have to have a new way of operating where they're not running a traditional business.
So thanks, Ingrid. Mike, a little bit on your background and why you joined Two Front.
Yeah, sure. So the second part's easy. So I'll start with the background quickly, which is I've been in startups now for almost 15 years. I've been at various different startups, different areas of technology, hospitality. I've done cannabis. I've done a bunch of different things. Like you mentioned, we were fortunate enough to have an exit with our last company to DoorDash. And when I was searching for what's next, it was pretty easy. I met Ingrid, and I was fortunate enough to meet her in person, and she explained to me the problem. I was fortunate enough to know some people in the dentist and orthodontic world, and I sort of called them. I said, "Hey, what do you think about this? You know, what kind of questions should we be asking? What should we be solving for?" And the second I got to bounce everything off of Ingrid and talk to her, the problem was there, and the solution that was already being built at Two Front was, in my estimation, really a really good fit for the market and the void that she has worked so hard to help find. And so obviously you can also hear her energy and the way how much she loves this industry. So it was a pretty easy decision for me from there.
Yeah, that she definitely is energetic about what she's doing and passionate about it, which makes a lot of sense. And I believe it was Jeremy Krell from Revere who introduced us initially. And Jeremy has a way of finding these new innovative dental companies that are out there. So he put us together, and that's why you're on the podcast now. Talk to me a little bit.
Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy seems to be a great connector. You had some, and then right after he connected us, I think I saw that you had some funding initially as $3.5 million from Craft Ventures. That was pretty recent. So let's talk about that, and then talk about Two Front. What's this platform? What does it do? How does it work?
Yeah, so the funding, that's actually how I met Mike, is because we have the same investors, Craft Ventures, and we're very lucky. Our investors, they specialize in vertically integrated marketplaces, which is basically it's a fancy word of trying to say, like, giving small businesses tools to run more efficient businesses. So Mike's prior industries were hospitality and cannabis. It's the same kind of concepts that we apply here to dentistry. So basically it's orthodontics in a box, for general dentists. And so what we do is we match orthodontists with the local dental offices, and we help them run the most efficient Invisalign practice in the world. So we basically figured out, there's two parts of it. There's the acquisition piece, which is very hard because patients are more inundated with like ads than ever before. More Smile Direct Club ads, more Invisalign ads. Now there's Embrace. So people have so many options when it comes to straightening your teeth. And so we really help to get in front of every single patient at a dental office and really educate them, in a very easy, consumerized approach. Why do you need an orthodontist? What are your options? How much should you be paying? How long is the process going to take? It's such like a black box of like how it works. And we really specialize in communicating those needs to the patients. And then we help orthodontists run the whole practice from 20 local dental offices. So one orthodontist, they only have to go in once a month. So what we're doing is we're basically giving them a system where they can manage their schedules from all of their offices. And we basically give them communication tools where their patients can actually communicate with them directly. So their patients only have to come in, 80% less than the traditional Invisalign visits. And we help them run everything from like efficient aligner tracking and ClinCheck management to efficient communication. We pay all the lab bills, we pay the iTero, we take care of all the costs so that it's completely free to dentists and orthodontists. And basically, it's the most efficient way to operate together. So for a DSO who has like 5 practices, and their average DSO is treating one Invisalign patient per month, we go in and we can 5 to 10 times that. How? Because we're getting in front of every single patient and we're educating a demand that already exists.
Mike, talk a little bit about your role at Two Front. What are you doing there?
That's a great question. So my job is obviously to support Ingrid in any way, shape, or form that I can. Obviously, the life of a CEO is quite exhausting, and she's got a lot going on. So my job, I would say my central job is to take what's in her brain as the industry expert, as the person whose idea this company is turned into, and translate that into deliverables, action items to the team, and making sure that we're delivering all the things that she was just speaking about. Like, we need to make sure that we've got top tier patient care. We need to make sure that we're converting, like Ingrid said, 10 times the amount of patients per office per month for Invisalign. And so we need to deliver on those tools. We need to deliver on the customer service and the patient experience. And so that's really primarily what I'm focused around, is taking what's in her brain and how to accomplish those things, and bringing them to the team. And we have a really fantastic team here, and helping them execute on all of those from a day-to-day basis.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. So how do you accomplish 5 to 10 times, the conversion? So that's the big question, right? Because who wouldn't want that for sure. So I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about that. And how do you make money from your clear aligner patients? Because the market is educated somewhat, right? There's the awareness that clear aligners exist, but maybe they don't necessarily know what they need, or which one to choose from, or whether they qualify or not. So there's that education process a little bit. But let's talk about the money, and then how does Two Front really kind of multiply the opportunity?
Yeah, totally. So when you're in an industry where like tech companies have taken over and kind of advertise to the world, hey, you don't need an orthodontist anymore. You don't have to pay more than $80 a month. You don't even have to come into the dentist. You don't have to do anything. It's that easy. It makes it a lot harder for the average consumer to make a decision. And so what we've done is we put every patient into a marketing funnel. If 80% of patients can actually benefit from straightening their teeth, either for cosmetic or for medical reasons, because if they don't fix that crowding, they're going to get recession, or if they don't fix their bite problem, they're going to crack their tooth and need a crown, then it makes sense to get in front of every single patient, educate them on their teeth, and help them make a decision on whether or not they want to straighten their teeth. But it's a whole funnel, the typical consultation for orthodontics, I think, has to be so deconstructed. And that's what we've done. No one wants to come in, meet an orthodontist, have a traditional experience when they see these like sexy ads for Candid, like all over subway stations and buses. And they're like, oh, why would I do this old school thing? Apply with this old school financing, have this old school experience. But in reality, most people know nowadays, like if you Google this stuff, people are like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be straightening my teeth in the mail. There's lawsuits against all these companies, like with the state of California, the state of Texas. Everyone saw the COVID article in the New York Times about how mail order aligner companies make patients sign NDAs. But that said, people don't want that old school experience. So we've really deconstructed the consultation and given patients more of what they want by making it consumerized, making it digital, giving them the kinds of payment plans that patients are looking for, like 36 months, interest-free, no down payments. We can offer that through our partnership with the firm. Having everything in one digital platform, being able to make a decision on your own time. So part of what we do when we partner with an office is we send treatment coordinators to the dental offices in a different day than when the orthodontist is actually there. So we have a non-doctor scan day. And so every patient, and we have, we can flex however many we need, depending on how many patients are at the office. But basically we give the ability for patients to come in and get a free 3D scan as a second step after awareness, so that they could actually then get a free treatment plan by an orthodontist in their inbox, completely separate from having to come in for a traditional consultation. So I think that's step one. And then your question around how DSOs make money. I think, we all know that especially during a recession, cash flow is king. It's in running an Invisalign practice is really expensive. Everything from starting with the lab bill to if you're offering your patients good financing, that can be a 10 to 15% hit, to if you're offering your patients Chewies and the vPro and, some sort of virtual monitoring care kit, which can be a couple $100. Then you're charging on average $5,000 to $6,000 because that's what the market charges. Then insurance is like a factor. And at the end of the day, you actually don't end up netting much money. If anything, you end up losing money, especially as a general dentist or as a DSO owner, because you have so many costs, including the cost of your doctor, your staff, and your admin that actually goes into all the continuity of customer service care that happens with an Invisalign patient. And so, we're part of the Invisalign Special Markets program, which means that we get access to some good data around how much time people are spending. And we have learned that the average dentist spends 6 hours per Invisalign patient, which is a lot longer than people think because they don't take into account all the time it takes to actually take down a chair, break down the chair, put it together, all the claims management, customer service, claim checks and refinements. And after 6 hours, you're not really making much money.
Just to like sort of add to that, really, a lot of this is just doing a lot of the way to increase conversion is just doing a lot of the grueling work of talking to the patients, hearing their concerns, making sure that we are treating for their concerns, and that's done through top tier care. So there's one piece is helping the offices create awareness, just generally with their patient population. But more importantly, number two is just creating a really excellent patient experience, both before they decide to get treated with Invisalign and afterwards as well, making sure that we have a trained orthodontist helping them throughout the entire process. So that's really what it boils down to.
Love to get some feedback on this question here. I mean, it seems like every practice out there, every DSO, every emerging group is offering clear aligners, right? So how does one stand out in a very crowded market? And of course, you touched on you need to make money too, which it's tough. So, but from a marketing perspective, if somebody's looking and they maybe don't have a dentist, right, that they go to regularly, and this could be an opportunity for them, to get in through Invisalign, right, through clear aligner treatment. How do you do that? How do you stand out?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. And I think this is a question that most dental offices struggle with across the country. Because the problem is everyone around you is offering it. So the system that Invisalign has come up with is like the gold tier or diamond plus, which kind of helps you stand out. But at the end of the day, what ends up happening is you're having to outcompete, on price. And so people just go lower and lower and lower, and they actually end up just losing money, especially considering, they're pretty much just covering the lab bill. And then they are seeing the patients so many more times than they're used to. And so in terms of how to stand out, I think it's really kind of what Mike is saying, which is like the patient experience. People are wearing aligners 22 hours a day for 6 months to a year. That's a long time to commit to something, and delivering a really good experience is key. And so, when we partner with offices, we talk about two-front powered Invisalign treatment and what that actually means, and kind of market that to the patients, which I think really, really helps to kind of demonstrate the value that you add on top of just the Invisalign treatment.
That's good to know. Mike, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, once again, it comes down to doing the work, and that's around the patient experience and making sure that we're there and we're guiding them, and that's what sets a lot of these offices apart that we work with and they talk about, is just making sure that their patient has a question, it gets answered, and it gets answered intelligently with good information. So people are, there a lot of people shop around, a lot of patients are interested in different services, but if they know that this is obviously a large purchase, that they're going to get a good experience throughout, that's generally how our offices like to separate themselves.
Ingrid, you mentioned earlier that you have a lot of really great data on the market and what's going on. Anything out there that you see that's interesting that maybe a DSO or an emerging group would want to hear about, as far as patients and clear aligners, some trends that you might have some insight into?
Yeah, I mean, just how big the market opportunity is. Like it's a $250 billion market in the United States alone. It's a $950 billion market globally. There's 96,000 Invisalign providers in the world. The average office treats one patient per month, but they're seeing 200 to 400 patients a month. Like that is a massive underpenetration. Like you should be getting in front of each and every patient. Invisalign is the most self-referred procedure at a dental office. No one's coming in and saying, I want a root canal. Everyone's coming in and saying, I want to straighten my teeth. So serve that demand by giving them what they're looking for and differentiate yourself. And we really help you make money because the costs are just, even for us as a startup, like we look at like our Invisalign costs, we look at our, virtual care costs, our claims management costs, like kind of everything that goes into running Invisalign practice. And we're like, and then we map out all the workflows of like what goes into running a really good practice and a really good patient experience. And we're like, how is anyone doing this on their own? Like if you're also doing general dentistry and you're also doing, oral surgery or whatever it is that you're doing, it's just such a full-time job to give your patients a good experience. And so if you can outsource it and really guarantee that experience and not pay any money, why wouldn't you do it?
But Bill, I know this is sort of the antithesis of your question, but just as an example, I was fortunate enough to get married about a year ago. And before our wedding, my wife said that she wanted to have Invisalign. She wanted to have some straightened teeth before our wedding. So about a year and a half before the wedding, she went to our dentist, who is a fairly modern dentist. They actually have multiple offices. And she said to them, I would like Invisalign. Like I would like to straighten my teeth. It's something that, I think would really enhance my overall experience. And they did what a lot of offices do, which is they handed her a sheet of paper with handwritten 3 different offices that can help treat her for Invisalign in the area, all orthodontist office. 2 of them were closed for good and 1 didn't ever call her back. And so that seems to be, obviously that's a microcosm and it's a small story. That seems to be a fairly typical experience for those that aren't treating in the offices themselves. And I've heard that, from plenty of people that I know. And that's what we're trying to get away from. It's crazy that in 2022, or at that time, 2020 or 2021, that was even an option. And that's part of what we're trying to solve.
So this is a question that I'll probably get myself in trouble with, although fortunately I have an orthodontist here, so I guess I'm maybe preaching to the choir a little bit. But do you really need an orthodontist for high quality Invisalign care? That's maybe a loaded question, but it's a question that comes up quite a bit. And Ingrid, what are your thoughts around this?
So the answer is like 100% yes. I didn't realize that until I was in residency, obviously. Like when I was in dental school, I was like, but I see dentists doing Invisalign. So like, I can't, like, maybe actually, like, you don't need an orthodontist anymore. Maybe there is AI that's straightening teeth. It's absolutely not the case. Half the practices that we partner with are dentists who used to offer Invisalign, and they say they've offered it for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And they basically are like, it's just not worth the headaches because you don't get the results that you want. And the reason why is because to get the results that you want, you really need to know what's called biomechanics. Biomechanics is the foundation of how to move teeth. Before you move teeth with plastic or aligners or with metal or with braces, the foundation of how to move teeth is still the same. There's no AI that changes that. You have to know what position you're moving the teeth into. You have to know which attachments to use. You have to know if you're moving your teeth in this direction, here's how I have to compensate, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And those are the things that general dentists don't learn. And so, what ends up happening is dentists are like, oh, this is an easy case. It's a little bit of crowding. I'm going to move the teeth, but then it's opened up the bite in the back end, or then it's uncovered an underbite, or something happens and it's created unnecessary, stress for the dentist. And you're not making money because there's so many appointments that are required to continue to kind of fix that patient. And so I get why dentists do it. It seems easy. You also just don't know what you don't know. And then by the time you get into it, there's a reason why most people start slowing down. Now, of course, there's always a dentist that is going to like specialize in Invisalign. If you're going to dedicate all of your time to learning biomechanics, of course, you can become an orthodontist and you can basically become a specialist in Invisalign and become good at it. But I would say for 99% of dentists out there, it's just better to work with an orthodontist.
Makes sense.
And this is the industry expertise I was referring to earlier. This was frankly all new to me too. So I find it quite fascinating, and I learn things like this every day.
Let's talk a little bit about the future of clear aligners and orthodontics in general. What do you see, Ingrid, as far as how things progress? Obviously, two front's going to be part of that, but what are your thoughts on the future? And maybe we can even tie in, some of this economic pressure that we're starting to see already. Is that going to affect things?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a recession during COVID, and during COVID, the Invisalign market cap doubled from 25 to 50 billion. So, it's like these Zoom calls, and like it kind of just shows like people between social media and Zoom calls and people just having, more time and wanting to invest in more self-care. It's not going anywhere. Like moving teeth is recession proof. We saw that in 2008. So the demand's not going anywhere, especially if you could offer patients these great financing plans where they can pay $100 and something a month without affecting their credit. And that's kind of what we specialize in, is making sure that we can always convert patients because we're giving them the best financing options. And we're always kind of trying to refine that. So I think the future involves, dentists and orthodontists working together. That's kind of our motto. It's the future of dental is collaborative. Orthodontists need a new way of operating. Dentists need a way to fulfill their demand. And so we think that by uniting them through this really comprehensive operating system that's free to both people, to both parties, that offers the best patient experience, that streamlines all costs so that there's no cost to either party, we think that that's the future.
Collaborative care platform, right? So it makes sense. I'm going to let, you can both kind of contribute to this, because this is the last question I really have is, how do people find out more about Two Front? I mean, they can go to the website, which is my2front.com, right? So I got that part right. But what happens if they want a demo or they want to find out more? How can they contact you?
Well, if they're in Southern California, which is where we're focusing on expanding right now, they can just reach out to me directly. Or either way, we're planning on expanding across the country by the end of next year. For the next few months, we're just focusing on Southern California, so they can reach out on our website, book a demo directly. There's a button on there to book a demo with me. And if not, they can email me directly at ingrid@my2front.com, and we're happy to see if they qualify. Generally, we partner with dentists or offices that are seeing at least 20 new patients a month. So typically like healthy mid-sized practices that aren't startups, since we are filling their current demand.
So DSOs, emerging groups in Southern California would be perfect.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and once again, the best part is you go to the website, we're still a young company. So you go to the website, you click book a demo, and you get a demo with the CEO. You don't get with someone like me.
There you go. That's great. And I know you'll be going to some of the upcoming DSO meetings. So, look for Ingrid and Mike there for sure. What we'll do is we'll drop website information, contact info in the show notes. And this was a great conversation. I appreciate it. It's just so great what you all are doing. And, it's not always easy, I think, to, change some habits out there. And I think there's probably some frustration if you really are, a clear aligner provider and you're only, converting one patient a month. But there was a big investment, right, in training and time and marketing. I think a lot of clinicians out there, including emerging groups, are looking for some assistance, and that's where my Two Front comes in.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we're happy to help.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for listening in or watching today. Thank you to Mike and Dr. Murra for being on the Group Dentistry Now Show. Like I said, website is my2front.com, and you can reach out to Ingrid directly. We'll give you her email address in the show notes. And that's it. Until next time, it's the Group Dentistry Now Show. Thanks for watching or listening.
The Group Dentistry Now Show has listeners across North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. If you like our show, subscribe today, and please tell your colleagues about us.